In a lovely house in the forest, geologist Ish lives a peaceful life. One morning, he decides to visit the quarry to look for pyrite and ignores a call from his mother on his way out. Moments later while he's working, a snake suddenly bites his hand before crawling away. Panicking, he takes out his phone only to accidentally drop it down the hill. Next he uses a knife to gain easier access and sucks the venom out. He rushes back to his house and drinks some water before collapsing on the bed, but then he becomes delirious. A few hours later, Ish hasn't moved and his hand is terribly swollen. He can hear someone knocking on his door and a helicopter outside, but he can't move or talk. In the evening he crawls out of bed to get more water, but his movements are so clumsy that he spills it, so he has to suck it from the floor. Ish keeps calling for his mom while on his phone a text arrives from her saying "we love you." Many days later Ish wakes up feeling better and his hand is back to normal. He gets in his car after cleaning it and it takes it a few tries to start. Ish drives to town and is surprised to find the streets empty. Eventually he stops the car when he discovers a rotting body on the ground. There are military cars everywhere and more dead people inside other vehicles. On a road sign he reads that there's been a global pandemic and the US government has been suspended. As he freaks out, he gets back in his car and turns on the radio. The news reminds the public the virus is highly contagious and lethal, so everyone must stay inside. When he makes it to his family home, Ish is devastated to discover both his parents are dead. After taking a moment to cry, he buries his parents in the backyard with a kiss on the forehead as goodbye. After resting in his childhood bed, Ish keeps searching the town and finds dozens of bodies in the church. Then he picks up a bunch of supplies including a gun and drives to the bridge, only to find it blocked. He screams in frustration before taking a different road to reach Las Vegas, which is also completely deserted. Searching the buildings is unsuccessful, so Ish decides to take a break in a jacuzzi. Later he goes to a bar to get a drink and drops the glass when he's startled by a voice. These are Milton and Anne, who explains they're immune and got stuck here when it all started. Milton has recorded the announcement on his phone and shows it to Ish, who learns the virus is new and nobody knows where it came from. Vaccines were ineffective and people were starting to panic on the streets. Eventually the government lost control and the virus took over the nation. Suddenly Ish admits that his parents had told him there was a new sickness around, but he hadn't thought it was this serious. Milton and Anne tell him all nations fell, so probably there are only a handful of survivors like them around the world. Anne confesses she watched her daughters and husband die on a video call. While the duo keeps drinking, Ish leaves to take the elevator, only to realize he has nowhere to go and falls asleep on the ground. The next morning he finds and trying on expensive clothes from the store. Ish wonders if being alive matters, and Anne says her heart beating doesn't mean she's alive. Then the trio gathers for breakfast and Ish learns Milton's wife died here in the hotel. Ish announces he'll leave soon in an upset and leaves the table. Milton tries to convince Ish to stay, saying they have food and a generator. As he shows Ish his gun, he also reveals he and Anne have an agreement: when food runs out, they'll self-delete. When Ish points out that the country has enough resources to last a decade, Milton asks why anyone would want to live after everything they cared about is gone. Before leaving, Ish asks Anne to come with him. She turns him down but still kisses him, so Ish has to push her off. On his way out, Ish hears 2 gunshots. Furious,